I am always drawn to cases that I have never seen before because, frankly, there is, well, not that many of them left because I've been doing this job a long time. But getting thrown into a maximum security prison over a timeshare dispute before any charges are even filed, assuming any crimes even occurred in the first place, that does not happen. Not in America. But it is happening in Mexico. We've been following the plight of Paul and Christy Akeo, a Michigan couple who flew to Cancun on vacation almost a month ago, 29 days to be exact. He is 58 and retired from the Navy, and she's 60 and a grandmother. But in the Cancun airport, the Mexican police descended on them and did this, arrested them and hauled them away. And why? Because of a business dispute. Just let me repeat that, a business dispute. The Akeos had been at war with a high-end resort that had sold them a timeshare. But the Akeos say the resort had not lived up to its end of the deal. The Palace Company says it's the other way around, claiming that the Akeos committed fraud. What is mystifying in this civil dispute is that Palace Resorts got the police involved, something you can do in Mexico. And now Paul and Christy are on night 29 in a hardcore Mexican prison with murderers and rapists. The company sent us a lengthy letter with its side of the story, which reads, in part, in 2021, the Akeos were found to be in material breach of agreements after promoting and profiting from their benefits on social media, conduct explicitly prohibited under the terms they agreed to. I should note that American Express actually sided with the Akeos in their dispute, and they refunded much of the Akeos' money. But Palace Resorts say that that only made the situation worse and said this, quote, the Akeos later bragged about these chargebacks and encouraged others to follow suit via a Facebook group they operated, further compounding the damage. Again, that's pretty civil stuff to me anyway, but not in Mexico. Tonight, we have some of the first images of Paul and Christy Akeo since their arrest. They are seen here meeting with Tom Barrett, a U.S. congressman from their home state of Michigan. He flew to Cancun today to try to help get them released. And later, Congressman Barrett posted this on Facebook. After landing in Cancun this morning, I traveled directly to the maximum security prison where Paul and Christy Akeo are being held. I met with them personally for an hour, and I learned of the horrific conditions they are facing. Rubbled walls, overcrowded cells, toilets that don't flush, and disgusting food. This has left them scared, frustrated, and struggling to find hope. I assured them that I am doing everything I can to urgently secure their safe release. Following my meeting with Paul and Christy, I met with the president of Quintana Roo Supreme Court to expedite any relief that we can provide. Thank you to the U.S. State Department for their assets and support on the ground to end this family's nightmare, and I hope to have more to share soon. Joining me now live is Mallory Wilson, a close friend of the Akeo family and their daughter, Lindsay. She also happens to co-host a true crime podcast called Buried Bylines. Mallory, thank you so much for being on. First question, you just saw the pictures. Those are the first pictures since the Akeos were arrested. You're close to this family. How do they look, and do you have any inside information about how they're doing?
They look much smaller. They definitely look like they've lost weight, muscle. I've never seen Paul look like that. And I know that Christy's lost about 25 pounds since being there. So she is much smaller. You can just see the life has kind of been drained from their faces. But I have to imagine that seeing Representative Barrett today was a good sign and a good feeling for them.
So tell me a little bit about what the congressman may have learned, because those were not televised. That was a photograph only. We don't have the audio of the meeting. what the congressman may have learned above and beyond what he wrote on Facebook and what he may have imparted on the Ikeo's kids, your friend Lindsay and Lindsay's brother.
Yeah, so I think really what he's learning is what Lindsay's been shouting from the rooftops for weeks now, which is, for the past month, they haven't been treated very well. They have been, Christy in particular, has been served food that she's uncomfortable eating. She's not sure if she's going to be allergic to it. She's been served fish despite telling them she's allergic to shellfish. The other day, I felt like it was the most heartbreaking update. Lindsay said, her mom got to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and she was so happy about that. And that is just so heartbreaking to hear. And these are the types of the conditions that they've been living with.
Is there an update on the progress of getting them home?
I don't know if there's any update right now, but I do know within the last hour, Lindsay was talking to Representative Barrett, and I know that he is very much still working to bring them home.
I also know that the Ikeos, and I see what you're saying as I look at the photos of them, another time, comparing these photos to the pictures today, they are significantly different. They look very, very different in these photos. And it does appear that they've lost a considerable amount of weight in 29 days. I mean, look at that. 29 days of being locked up in, again, a maximum prison. So the issue is that they have done everything they can to be public and reach out to even the president of the United States, Donald Trump. Do you know if the president do they have his ear? Does he know of this case? Has he made any overtures? Has Lindsay and her brother, have they had any success in trying to reach the top of the U.S. government?
I can say that I know that Representative Barrett has been in touch with President Trump, and I believe, to my knowledge, that he is aware of what is going on.
Do you have any idea if the Ikeos were given any warning at all that if they ever returned to Mexico, which they just did a month ago for a vacation, they'd be arrested in the airport? Because I just want to remind the viewers, this dispute was settled years ago. And so this is a return to Mexico when they were grabbed. Did they have any indication from the Mexican authorities that if they came back to Mexico, this would happen?
Absolutely not. I don't think there's any way that they would have gone to Mexico if they knew. And the palace swears that they sent them warnings and that they knew that this was going to happen. Those warnings were not received. I don't believe, were ever sent. I believe it was a full ambush and they wanted to catch them off guard.
Well, I'm not going to get into the litigation between the Ikeos and Palace Resorts because I don't think it matters. I think at this point that is a civil dispute that should be handled in a civil way. That's the way we do it in America. But it is a cautionary tale for so many people watching right now. Different countries operate in different ways, and garbage like this can happen to you even if you think you're going to a five-star resort like the Palace Resorts. Mallory Wilson, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Keep us posted, will you?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.